1 hectare of land given to livestock farming can only feed 1 to 2 persons for a year. Yet over 3 billion animals are killed per day. 9 million chickens are killed in the US annually. The question now is, why do we still have over 700 million people suffering from severe hunger in urban and rural slums? This is because meat is expensive and it is an out-of-reach luxury for about 1/3 of developing countries, who then now eats all the meat. The second question is, why do we still have malnutrition as the single largest contributor to disease globally? From a couple of hundreds of years till now, the global consumption of meat has been increasing rather than otherwise, and about 21.6 species of animals are in serious danger of extinction. By 2050, the demand for meat will be twice that of the year 2008, a 70% increase, and if our eating habits don't change, the earth will be too big to feed itself. For the sake of sustainability and food security, meat is ineffective and is a contributor to food insecurity and the unsustainability of food globally. However, the solution is not just to change the diet, but also the systems of production. Our nutritional needs have changed, but our genetically encoded desires have not. Therefore, the answer to the question of food sustainability, food security, and planet health is pulses.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization developed a series of fact sheets covering the key messages of the International Year of Pulses 2016 concerning how pulses can help improve health, nutrition, biodiversity, food security, and climate change adaptation globally. Food insecurity is a major issue for many people and households in developing countries. It is estimated that 1/3 of developing countries' population are undernourished. But pulses, which are very inexpensive sources of protein and a crucial component of any healthy diet, especially in rural slums where meat, fish, and dairy products are economically inaccessible. Also, pulses are a smart option for houses with no refrigeration. They are still able to germinate after being stored for a long period of time in subsequent cropping seasons. It requires minimal processing and no refrigeration at all. However, the skyrocketing increase of meat consumption globally has affected the pulse farming globally, especially that of soybeans. Although soybean-based foods have become an effective alternative to animal-based meat, cheese, butter, milk, and others, only less than 10% of soybean produce are for humans. 90% are for animal feed. Although there has been increment in the pulse farming globally, it is still the least on the table compared to its counterparts like tubers and cereals, which is because most farmers do not find it lucrative. Now, we at the Empire seek to increase the chances and competitiveness of our designated crop in the market, and my colleague here, Israel, will elaborate more on the business model.
Empire, the solution that we have come up with for food insecurity are pulses. Pulses are easier to cultivate, they require less stress, and they bring out massive results, especially for the fact that meat consumption has adversely affected our world, but pulses will be a great solution to them. We have come up with our business model, and our business model includes having farms at local areas, having warehouses at cities, and distributing to the general populace. Farming at local areas or at rural areas would include employing farmers from these communities to empower the people and also help give back to their society, especially that these people, a lot of them cannot afford to buy the meat that they would like to have consumed. Meanwhile, having warehouses at cities would help us reach the people at urban areas with the same farm produces that the people in rural areas are enjoying, and also help them enjoy this, have this accessibility and availability of this food. Also, we have come up with our distribution method, and we have decided to apply the model of employing partners to go along with us in distributing to urban centers and various parts of the nation. And this business model means that we have our farms at the rural areas, our warehouse at cities. Our warehouses would include would be called naves rather, would include warehouses, factories, and probably distribution stores, and then our distributors would also help get them to other places where we do not have farms or warehouses.
In conclusion, beans on itself serves as fertilizer, or let me say manure, to other crops, which makes it a natural fertilizer to itself.
And this is because it contains nitrogen, which is supplied to the soil, so it is even useful in case of subsequent croppings, and then that cuts the cost of fertilizer totally. So pulse production requires no fertilizer,
And this reduces our cost of production and actually helps make things cheaper at the earlier stage. So the indication of that is that the cost of production being low and it being cheap will make food both affordable and also available to both the local areas and also to the urban areas.
and secondly, our system of having farms in rural areas and then warehouses in urban areas is perfect. Why? Because now for the rural areas, the farms will supply directly to the market of those rural areas, while the warehouses will be for urban areas where those farms are not available, which will lower the cost of distribution.
And not just this, but this actually supplies nutrients to the body, and in cases of malnutrition, they cut off.